The title of our project is ASSIST, that is Assistive Smart Stick for Independent and Safe Travel. Our team ID is 652. We are a team from Vesit Chembur. Our team members include Aishwarya Nair, Shivani Patil, Sairi Natekar and Prithvi Amit. Our mentor is Dr. Shanta Sundur. The main idea was designing a smart stick with the help of IoT technology that will help us navigate the user and at the same time provide us with his real-time location. Creating and designing an application usable by both the visually impaired person as well as the emergency contact to track and obtain the images of the places visited by the user. Designing an algorithm on the basis of which there will be a determination of whether the locations are disabled friendly and then assign them a score. Creation of an administrator interface that will convey this information and suggest improvements and developments, also necessary actions to be taken. So this is the basic design of our smart blind stick. At the top is the vibration motor that will vibrate, alerting about the obstacles in the way. There is an ultrasonic sensor inside the box that measures the distance between the stick and the obstacle. The other ultrasonic sensor measures the depth in case of potholes and undulations, etc. This is a PyCam that captures every 5 seconds. Here is the GPS sensor that will be placed at the top of the box. This whole unit will be mounted over the smart stick, including the power bank.
This is our database that is created on Firebase. Now, each of our data points consists of three fields: an image, the image field, latitude, and the longitude field. Now, the image field consists of the output of the image processing algorithm, that is the object that it has detected, and it consists of where the image has been taken, that is the latitude and the longitude. The analysis part, where we can sort each location out by date. For example, let's take the October last year, start of the month to the end of the month. Let's set this, and we have these two locations where we've tested this application during the month of October. Frequent location. Frequent location is a feature that accesses all of the frequently accessed location of the visually impaired person. Each of these locations can be provided with additional facilities to make them more accessible and visually impaired friendly. Unsafe locations. Unsafe locations is a feature that we have obtained from the emergency alerts feature for the visually impaired person. When a visually impaired person presses the emergency alert, his or her location is recorded. This location is sent to the emergency contact of the person. Frequent routes. Frequent routes is a feature that records the frequently traveled routes for the visually impaired person. Additional facilities such as bus services and additional guards can be provided at these routes to make their journey safe. Accessibility information. Accessibility information consists of these locations, which consist of their scores. Each score is calculated based upon the images and the obstacles that were obtained in each place. As the locations that were tested were not very disabled friendly, their scores are 0. In case some more disabled friendly location is obtained and the score is incremented. When the score is implemented, instead of these locations, the other accessible locations will be obtained.
This is the stick that has a device mounted on it with an ultrasonic sensor which measures the distance between obstacle and the stick. In case of an obstacle, the vibration motor at the top of the stick vibrates, alerting the user about the hurdle in the way. There is an ultrasonic sensor at the bottom of the stick too, which measures the depth. And if the depth is more, the vibration motor again vibrates, which helps the user to climb up and down the stairs. The Pi camera keeps capturing the images of the architecture around. The GPS sensor inside the device continuously tracks the location of the user. There is also an emergency button provided. On pressing the button, it sends an emergency mail to the family member. This feature helps the user in panic situations. The user can easily contact their family members using this feature. Hence, this stick helps the user to navigate safely and independently around. The whole concept of a smart assistant stick revolves around a device which is easy to carry and smaller in size. During the whole making and implementation of the circuit, biggest challenge we all came across was the circuit minimization and making it compact in size. Keeping in mind the positioning of all the sensors, mainly the camera and GPS, which needs uninterrupted and continuous satellite signals. Mounting this device over the stick, not making it bulky and heavy to carry, added to our difficulties. But we tried our best to overcome all these issues. Considering all above challenges, we have come up with a better, convenient, and a feasible solution. The future scope consists of improved and accurate results from image processing algorithm, a voice assistant that helps the visually impaired to navigate direction-wise, which helps detect the object and tells user about the object, its color, its details. Hence, a implementation of a better algorithm will be needed in future. A better way to implement the charging slots for the system also requires implementation of the system on a PCB, which will reduce the size of the device even more, making it more convenient. Cost of implementation of our project Assist is Raspberry Pi 3B for 3000, two ultrasonic sensors for 140 rupees, Pi camera for 450 rupees, vibration motor for 110 rupees, GPS module for 750 rupees, emergency button 15 rupees, total of which rounds about to 4465 rupees. Several such ideas and devices have been invented and developed over years to help the disabled. Our domain being development equitable infrastructure, supporting economic development and human well-being, we have designed a device that helps the disabled and also helps to take necessary actions. Most of the times we come up with solutions without thinking about what actions need to be taken due to lack of information to the authorities. The purpose is to make improvements in infrastructure along with navigation, making it a better place for them. We have put in our best teamwork, creativity, and efforts to come up with this idea. It is slightly different from others and hence deserves a better guidance of experts.
Presenting before you on the behalf of the team of Jay Bendre, Sumit Ghavat, Vignesh Pillai, Harshita Singh, and Professor Asha Bharambe, a smart greenhouse monitoring system. A greenhouse is a glass structure in which plants are grown in regulated conditions. IoT is the key technology that is used in a smart greenhouse to regulate the environmental conditions according to the crop requirements.
Idea description. The main aim of the proposed system is to provide an integrated portal which the farmers can access to monitor the environmental conditions within the bounds of the greenhouse. Different environmental parameters such as air temperature, air humidity, air quality index, soil moisture content, light intensity, etc. are monitored by the system. The ecosystem provided by the greenhouse helps in simulating the environment for the best yield of the crop.
Stakeholders are single individuals or entire organizations who are involved in the execution or outcome of a project. Different stakeholders involved in the system are farmers, farming agencies, and government agencies. Farmers are the key stakeholders as they are the ones who interact directly with the system and control it. Farming agencies are responsible for large-scale implementation as they are looking for profits by helping the farmers in selling the products, thereby increasing their profit margin. Government agencies help the farmer for welfare development by giving loans and
This is the workflow of the system. It shows how the different sensors interact with the Raspberry Pi and also explains the different event-based notification system that the system provides to the user. It includes three main phases: setting up of the system, data collection and analysis, and maintaining the environmental parameters. Explanation of the hardware used. We have used a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus model as the controller to collect and transmit data to the server. This is used as processing and cleaning of sensor data into an interpretable form is easier and faster in Python 3. Also, using Raspberry Pi reduces the cost of Wi-Fi model required for transmission of the data. DHT11 is used to keep track of the temperature and humidity of the entire system. It acts as a 2-in-1 sensor by providing both the temperature and the humidity at the same time, thus reducing cost and complexity of the system. The air quality sensor used is MQ135, which returns the air quality index, and the reason for choosing this sensor is the accuracy it offers with the AQI that it returns back. Light intensity sensor BH1750 is used to keep track of the light intensity within the greenhouse, as certain crops are susceptible to different light intensities. Soil moisture sensor by RoboCress is used to keep track of the moisture content of the soil. We chose this sensor as it is in direct contact with the soil and it goes deep within the soil, thus giving much accurate results. Fluorescent lights are used to increase the light intensity and the temperature of the system if required. Software. The data from the RPi is collected and stored in a MySQL database which is present on a remote server machine. The data from the MySQL database is rendered using a React.js UI into graphs and raw data. The React.js accesses the API, which is in turn used to access the database. The API middleware is written in Django 2.x, which uses models to load data from the database and serializes it for use to the React interface. Idea implementation. The prototype is essentially a greenhouse simulation. It is a glass frame of dimensions 3 by 2 by 3 feet. It has two symmetric half-inch holes on either side. Through these holes pass the pipes and wires required for the sensors. It has a wooden plank which acts as a support for the different sensors such as air quality sensor, temperature and humidity sensor, and the light intensity sensor. It also acts as a support for the fluorescent light. There are pipes used for sprinkling purposes which are also supported by the wooden plank. Now, drip irrigation is provided to the plants. At the surface of the prototype is a layer of soil, and in this layer of soil there are two soil moisture sensors. This is a demonstration of our simulation of a smart greenhouse monitoring system. The first sensor we're going to talk about is MQ135. MQ135 is an air quality sensor. It basically senses the air quality of the environment that it is placed in. The data collected by this sensor is stored on a database. The next sensor is DHT11. DHT11 acts as a 2-in-1 sensor for both humidity and temperature. The two environmental parameters monitored or sensed by this sensor are stored in the database. Now the values can be viewed by the user using our UI. The next sensor that we're going to talk about is the soil sensor. Now there are two soil sensors placed in the soil near the roots of the plants. These two soil sensors sense the soil moisture, and their data is continuously recorded by the system, and the user can view the data of these sensors. Now, if the data of any or the values of any of the environmental parameters reaches at an alarming level, then the user gets notified exclusively. Now, the sprinklers start when temperature is too high or if the humidity falls below a certain level. So this is how the sprinklers would start, and they would reduce the temperature or increase the humidity according to the requirement. Then the next thing is the drip irrigation, which has been automated by us. So irrigation that can happen in two ways. First is basically the soil sensors sense that the soil moisture is very less, and they notify the system ki soil moisture is very less and the drip irrigation starts, or the user gives in a uh, predefined hours and uh, timelines for the irrigation to happen within the greenhouse. So this is how a drip irrigation would happen.
Hello everyone, I am Gayatri Velapurkar and this is my team's project Unblock Subsidy for Smart India Hackathon 2019 under the problem statement Digital India Smart Subsidy System. So as the name of the problem statement suggests, it's a smart subsidy system. The basic problem statement was this, that a lot of time is wasted under supply chain and significant truthful beneficiaries are bereft of government subsidized schemes. So we all know that the government has introduced a lot of schemes like fertilizers, housing schemes, pension schemes, and a lot more for the benefit of the people. And we also know that a lot of time is wasted and many truthful beneficiaries do not receive these benefits that are meant for them. So there's also a huge wastage of items because it's not delivered in time, and there are also other reasons such as the beneficiary probably does not even know about the scheme, or there's corruption happening at various levels, and because of these many reasons the truthful beneficiary might not get the benefits. So in order to address and ensure this, ensure that government schemes are reaching to the beneficiary in a timely manner, we are proposing a blockchain based ecosystem that is developed in order to monitor, track, and ensure reduced supply chain time, and that the desirable beneficiary is benefited. So the points which are marked in orange are the basic keywords that we extracted from it, and these were drilled down on various levels, and the main goals extracted were these: that truthful beneficiaries are bereft, so we have to do something about it. There's a lot of wastage of items, there is delayed delivery, and other reasons such as corruption or not knowing the schemes, and we have to propose a blockchain based ecosystem to monitor, track, and ensure reduced supply chain time. So for this, our solution in a nutshell is as this. First of all, the government is responsible for adding scheme details and various criteria. So whenever a new scheme is formed, the government has a set of criteria or details regarding that, and these are updated by the government. There is a mobile app on the user's side. Using this mobile app, the person will be able to see what all schemes are given by the government. So the person first has to come and register on the mobile app, and then after that he'll be able to check schemes on the app. The next step is that after looking at all the schemes available, the user can choose which scheme is the most apt for him, and according to that he can apply for the scheme by uploading various required documents. So for example, suppose an income certificate is required for availing a particular scheme, then that income certificate has to be uploaded on the app. So for this application, a record is created in the smart contract, and this is given to the application approvers. These are a set of people on various levels. So there's level 1 set of approvers, level 2 set of approvers, and so on. And here proof of authority consensus is used. And these application approvers are selected based on an intelligent algorithm, so that the person who is applying for the scheme does not know who is going to approve his application or where that application has gone. So here itself the problem of corruption is solved, because since I don't know who is approving my scheme, I can't do anything about it. I'll just have to submit proper documents and wait for the approval. After this, the system updates user after approval of all the criteria. So this means that the application has been approved and the user can avail the benefits. So the user is given a notification about the approved subsidy, and he has to now go to the distributor. The distributor is a person who will be distributing the subsidized items. So the person goes to the distributor. The distributor verifies the beneficiary that yes, this is the truthful beneficiary using a token and a valid ID proof. The distributor also checks if this particular beneficiary has actually been approved of availing this benefit, and once that is approved, the distributor selects yes, clicks yes on his end of the mobile app and selects that yes, it is ready for disbursing. Once that is done, an OTP is sent to the user. This OTP is to ensure that it's sort of a double check to ensure that this is the truthful beneficiary, and this OTP is to be dictated to the distributor. And once it is all done, the item is given to the user at a subsidized price. The user receives the item, and this is updated in the smart contract. Now suppose uh, these are to be received in the bank account, so that is also done, and in case of direct benefit transfer, these are allocated in that same way. So this is our solution in a nutshell. Now let's go and see a use case example. So let's assume that Raj is a verified beneficiary and he logs into the app. Then he gets a notification about a fertilizer scheme. He finds it appropriate for himself and he applies. Now, after applying for it, he has already submitted all the required documents, and now the government starts the procedure to verify his application at different levels. So, there, as I said, there are multiple levels, say 1 to n. So, officers verify according to the proof of authority consensus. Now, since the verification is done on various different levels, we also keep a track of delay in approval. So, a particular request, when there's a particular request, we know exactly after how much time it was approved or a decision was made on it. So, delay can be reduced at that stage by monitoring where it's taking a lot of time and so on. So once the verification is completed, a unique key is generated that is sent to the user. And all these transactions that take place, they are continuously updated at every level. So now Raj, the user, he takes his key and goes to the local fertilizer shop in order to avail his benefits. So when Raj is at the local distributor center, he authenticates himself with his Aadhaar card and the unique key. And this is where the entire OTP process takes place, and the distributor verifies that yes, Raj is the truthful beneficiary and I can give him the benefits. So Raj collects all the subsidized items from there, and then he gets a notification about uh, in case he wants to report any issue or complaint. Now there's also this feature that Raj can track the progress of his application on the app and get the estimated time of distribution. So so he knows that there's around this much amount of time which will be taken for the entire process to take place. So the few highlights of our project are that blockchain and proof of authority is used to escalate the application up in the hierarchy. We've used token-based system to ensure that the benefits are availed by a truthful user only. And also there are officers at different levels for approval. So the upper level officers can scrutinize the performance down in the hierarchy to avoid delay in the subsidy life cycle. There are a few dependencies in the project as well, such as making sure that the government list of beneficiaries is up to date, because it will be updated. The details of every scheme will obviously be updated by the government itself. And there's also a mechanism to validate that the beneficiary using Aadhaar card at the local distributor. So moving on, the business potential for this particular project is quite a lot, because it is an opportunity to experiment and exploit benefits of future technologies. So blockchain is still developing and a booming field, and it also lets us exploit other future technologies. This particular solution gives opportunity for leading organizations to act as a blockchain service providers, which will also give them profit. So infrastructure may be used for services other than UBS as well. So this entire system, it can be used as it is for different applications. Then there's decentralized and distributed application approval process as proposed, like it is an opportunity for BPO like Aadhaar centers. There's an opportunity to build and maintain supply chain management for subsidized items and their distribution. And this UBS model may be easily used for solving many other problems like banking and financial services. This entire thing can also be used for visa approvals and so on. So it has a lot of business potential. So that's it. Thank you.